Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. One thing I really enjoy is watching the smaller fighters fight, men or women, because you get lots and lots of action, high output of punches, and you get some real sort of entertaining stuff down at those really low weights, flyweights, light fly, super fly, all that sort of, minimum weight. And we had a good women's fight yesterday between Yokasta Valle and Evelin Bermudez, and this was at light flyweight. Now, the champion, the IBF and the WBO champ, was Evelin Bermudez, and Valle herself, Yokasta Valle, holds two, actually they're the same belts, the IBF and WBO belt at minimum weight. And it's often been mooted that Valle should face Seniesa Estrada for an undisputed fight at minimum weight, but she didn't do that. She jumped up and faced Evelin Bermudez at light fly. So she was bidding to become, a two-weight world champ, simultaneously holding two of the belts in each division. Quite an achievement. Now, when this fight was first mooted, I thought, well, I'd prefer to see Yokasta Valle in with Estrada, Seniesa Estrada, because Estrada has a very similar style to Valle. They're both little fireballs. They don't have a lot of finesse. They throw lots and lots of punches. They like to sort of wade in close very, very quickly, throwing big hooks, big overhand rights and lefts. You don't get a lot of jabbing from either. And it would just be a real firefight, an explosion of the two styles fit together perfectly. However, Valle jumping up to face Bermudez, that looked like to me on paper, it looked like a far more difficult task, because Bermudez, and you saw this as soon as the fight started, Bermudez, much taller, much rangier, better boxing technique, fires straighter punches, seems to have a higher ring IQ in the sense that she chooses her punches better, but perhaps falls into the trap of not throwing enough punches, trying to be a bit too precise at times. And so it proved, because when the fight started, Bermudez looked at least one weight division bigger than Valle, but the little fireball came forward, rolled towards her and let her punches go. And the pattern of the fight seemed to be sort of laid out from the word go. Valle was going to come forward and try and throw as many punches as possible and try and outwork you. And Bermudez was going to try and keep her on the end of the jab, maybe choose her punches better, thread them through the attacks, and counter and probably win on points. Most of these women's fights go to points because there's only 2-minute rounds. There's only 10 of them. So the fight sort of, there wasn't really, it was one of those fights which, even though it wasn't dull, it was kind of repetitive, because there weren't many sort of, peaks and troughs. It was just the same sort of pace. And it was really, what do you like? Do you like the aggression and the industry of Yokasta Valle, or do you prefer the cleaner work of Evelin Bermudez? Well, I was stuck in the middle, to be honest with you, because I was thinking, okay, by the way, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. 2-minute rounds, I'm sick of them, because they're so difficult to score. Woman 1 wins the first minute, woman 2 wins the second minute. You're even. Where's that third minute, the deciding minute? Where is it? You can't get it. It's nowhere to be found. So I'm all for 3-minute rounds for women's 3-minute rounds for women's fights, and I want 12 threes, not 12 twos. I know some people say, well, 12 twos is a good compromise. It's better than 10 twos, but I'd rather see 12 threes. But anyway, Bermudez, cleaner work, Valle coming forward, trying to outwork her, and for a lot of the round she did outwork her, but there wasn't a lot of clean punching. There wasn't a lot. You very rarely get really crisp punching from Valle. In fact, you don't get it. The crisper work certainly came from Bermudez, but neither woman was really landing much. The scoring punches were not that, there weren't that many of them. It was very scrappy at times. And I thought, at the end of the fight, I had it 96-94 for Yokasta Valle. So I thought she'd taken Bermudez IBF and WBO light flyweight titles. But it was a close fight, and if I scored it again, I could have it a draw, I could have it a point or two for Bermudez. Now we get to the scoring, okay? Zachary Young had it 95-95, no argument at all. Draw, even fight, yeah, I'll go with that. Daniel Sandoval had it 97-93 to Yokasta Valle. I think that's too wide. 97-93, no. 7 rounds to 3. Maybe if you gave everything that was 50-50 to Valle, you could have a score like that, but no, I don't think so. Then we come to Adelaide Bird. 99-91. There was no way on God's green earth I can ever tell you what she was watching. 9 rounds to 1 for Valle. If coming forward without consistently landing scoring punches, if just simply the act of coming forward is what you're going to give rounds for, well, okay, Valle won it. But what? Don't you have to land punches? Don't you have to land clean punches, meaningful punches over your opponent before you can say, well, so-and-so's won? I just didn't get 99-91. I cannot agree with that. Way too wide. But Yokasta Valle does become a 2-weight, 2-belt in either weight, 2 belts in either weight, champ. And this was Bermudez's first defeat. She was 17-0-1 going in. She had 6 KOs out of the 17 wins. Valle's lost twice. She's now 27-2. The 2 defeats were on points, and 9 of her 27 wins have been by KO. And the 2 fights she lost were back-to-back in 2017 and 2018. She lost a couple of unanimous decisions on the road. I think one was in Japan and one was in Germany. So, but she picked up with her career, persevered, and now she's, world champ in 2 weights. Hell of an achievement. But I would like to see her drop back down to minimum weight and take on Estrada. I think that would be a great fight. Great fight indeed. This fight was, what was this fight on? It wasn't on DAZN. It was, I don't know what it was on. Was it on ESPN? I think in the UK it was on something called Fight TV, which I know virtually nothing about, to be honest. But if you can dig it out, it might be on YouTube. Have a look at it. Decent fight. Yeah, but I want to see Yokasta Valle face Seniesa Estrada. Seniesa Estrada and Valle is one of the women's fights to make because of the styles. Down at minimum weight, it would be an explosion, especially with the 2-minute rounds, because the people who support 2-minute rounds say, well, you get more action. Well, trust me, in this fight, you don't get any more action than in this fight. It's a brilliant matchup. As for Bermudez, she can come back. She didn't disgrace herself. A lot of people thought she won, and yeah, you can make a case for her winning, no question. Good fighter, maybe needs to up her pace. She needs to go through the gears more. She needs to fire more punches, be a little bit less conservative a little bit less conservative in her output. Yes, we all want to be accurate, but sometimes you can fall into the trap of not firing enough punches in a fight and losing it on work rate or a lack of work rate. I'd like to see Bermudez come back. She can win belts in the future. Her career's far from over. But this was a good fight. Check it out. Check this fight out. Valle is now, Yokasta Valle now 30 years old, so she's got a few years left. And Bermudez, I think, is even young. I think she's 26. She's Argentinian, Bermudez. First defeat, nothing to be ashamed of. She can come back. So let me know what you think if you saw this fight. I thought it was very good, interesting fight. Never really became a barn burner, but it was a little bit repetitive. But I thought it was kind of fascinating to see how you were going to score the fight. But let's get rid of these 2-minute rounds, please. I don't think I've met a female fighter or talked to a female fighter who likes 2-minute rounds. Maybe. I know Savannah Marshall said, yeah, she thinks they're okay, but I think she's the only person I've ever heard mention 2-minute rounds and say, yeah, I like them. Every female fighter I've spoken to wants the 3s. Anyway, let me know what you think of this fight. Leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That would be great if you could just hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel out. And the like button as well if you like the video. And yeah, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll speak again soon. Bye-bye for now.